Are these sightings or?
No, these are photos of the individuals that I used to, that I've met and worked with in the past, and including me and Jordan and Maxwell and so forth.
And it's okay, you own the rights to those photos?
Yes, they're my photos.
Okay, and the people wouldn't mind you showing them on the screen?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Yes.
Hi there, I'm Carrie Cassidy from Project Camelot, and I am here with Lord Ivars of Henwick. Is that how you say it?
Yes.
Okay. And I decided to do a short interview with him because he apparently was a bodyguard for Zachariah Sitchin, among other people, and then on top of it, he seems to have some interesting contacts. So we thought we'd do a short interview here to sort of introduce him to the audience and see where this takes us. So welcome, thank you. We're here at the BASIS conference, and just to clarify that. For short, should I call you Ivars?
Ivars is fine. Yes.
All right. And this is this title comes from Latvia, is that right?
No, it's UK title. And through my connections in the UK, as I've lived here the past 7 years, I met a baron, and through the baron, he introduced me to the holder at that time of the title, which is a royal lordship of Henwick. Dates back, was once owned by King Henry VIII. So it's an official royal lordship once owned by a king title, and now I am the holder of this title.
Okay, and
yes.
Why would you become the holder of such a title?
Well, since I've lived here for 7 years, I operate my businesses here. I feel very comfortable in the UK, and though I've called many places like home, not quite home, and I feel very comfortable here. And so I decided that this is where I will place my current roots, as I have several citizenships, well, 2, and others. And so I feel comfortable here. It was presented to me that it was available, and so I jumped on it.
Well, how does one jump on a title?
Connections.
Okay, but you buy it? I mean,
yes, it was purchased, yes. And so that's why I would say that the average British or English citizen would consider it, it's just a purchased title, it's no big deal. But to me, it's a very, I feel honored to have acquired it. And it's handed down to whoever is able to then afford such a thing. And so for me, it's very personal, as I have special citizenship as a private judicial power state citizen in America as a private citizen. And so
okay, but
that's another story.
Does it mean that you own any lands that are associated with the title?
In America, no. In the UK, the land was destroyed in I believe it was the 15th century from a big storm. So no, it's just a title, but it is an inheritable title. It will be with me until my wife, I'm not married currently, will inherit this title. She will become Lady of Henwick. I've been invited to join the, I don't want to name their name, a special elite group of lords and ladies, which the royal family is also a member of. But through this, and I believe it was because of these connections, said, this might be a good move for you. So I said, of course, why not? But in all honesty, it's fun. It's fun. But yes, it is my official legal title, and I had to swear an oath to the crown and go through a nice little fun ceremony legally. And with the lawyers, but they mentioned to me, it's a hat you wear, and you don't use it to aid you. You don't use this to for money or reasons, or try to influence others because you have such a title. But yeah, my children will be handed down this and so forth. So it's not like a sir or a lady, because or a knight. Like in America, many people aren't familiar with these things, exactly how it works. But a lord and a ladyship is handed down to generation, and in the UK, there are a lot of these individual families that have their funding is dried up, the family is no more, and so these single individuals are like, what am I going to do with this? This is going nowhere, I have no future with it. And so they kind of keep together with their inner circle of people.
Okay, well, I'm not sure if this actually pertains to what I wanted to talk to you about.
That's okay.
But what I wanted to talk to you about was, you told me that you had been a bodyguard for Sitchin, Zacharias Sitchin.
Correct.
And so I wanted to talk to you about that.
Certainly.
So you can tell us, why did you become his bodyguard? I mean, you seem to have an ample, you're like a sort of a normally built man, but you don't seem like a big bodyguard type.
No, not at all.
And so
Yes.
how does this work? Are you a very good marksman? Can you handle yourself, karate, etc.?
Yes, I trained several years combat school. I've trained in scores of weaponry over the years, approximately 17 years combat school trained. I trained in an art I probably shouldn't mention without permission from my master, but I trained in an art that is not trained to the normal individuals. It's also trained to special forces units. I can say that I've also trained in an art referred to as SCARS, also trained to SEALs and so forth, special force military. I'm proficient in about 12 of these weapons over the years, because you could spend, a lifetime studying one particular weapon and becoming very proficient with it. But I would say about 12 of the weapons I've trained with over the years, I've become quite proficient. And I'm firearms instructor certified. I was firearms instructor certified. In the UK, I'm not. I'm not allowed to play with big boy toys in the UK yet. But I'm semi-retired from the executive protection field, and I do security consulting with former clients and people who trust me that I've worked with in the past. I used to babysit, we say in the bodyguard field, famous Hollywood types, wealthy, elite individuals. One of my clients owned actually 70 properties at one time, and I was very privileged to live in one of these mansions in northern Arizona for a period of time, and it was a wonderful experience. But, I will say that being a bodyguard, most bodyguards don't write books. They don't give video interviews. They don't do things that could possibly jeopardize their relationship with their client. Excuse me, because a lot of these clients that you protect have real threats. And a lot of them don't, but many of them do, and you need to always take it serious or you'll be out of business quick.
Okay, so how many years or how long were you a bodyguard for Sitchin, for example?
Oh, it wasn't years. It was just when he would visit Arizona. So I can think twice. I've met him a few times before that, but twice I protected him during certain events, and he confided in me some good information. I've felt very privileged to have witnessed. Also, I will mention, in Arizona, he did some years ago, I have the VHS version, that's all I'll go with, but it was a two-part video series that he did, and he, as an appreciation to my service, he wanted to give me credit in that video. I'm sorry, I forget the name of it. It's one that was done in Arizona. Mm-hmm. And anyway, I told him, I said, sir, that would be very gracious of you, as long as you don't mention anything security related. I don't, because I still work and I don't want to be known as this, so in this circle of the, UFO community, so to speak. And so he agreed, and so I believe he made me, he used a part of my name. It was a name that I used. I used to do speaking as well in the Southwest and some places of California years ago with Jordan Maxwell. He took me under his wing briefly, and I got to work with him. Very privileged, and I have pictures I can show you.
Okay, well, you can show these to the camera.
Sure, yes.
Absolutely, if you want to hold them up even now.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well,
if it's
here's a photo of me and Zachariah. And I used to take Polaroids. I love Polaroids because at that time, they couldn't be faked. So here's a photo of me and Jordan Maxwell. And here's another two of me and Jordan. But I have, over the years, I've met several individuals. One that was very special to me was Dr. Frank Strange's.
Oh.
And
very interesting.
Yeah, and we have some very interesting beliefs, the two of us, when he wasn't passed. I've also met Al Bielik, Vladimir Tversky, Sean Morton, and some other interesting.
And myself.
And then you. So.
Yeah. All right. Well, so in terms of, you say Strange's, Frank Strange's, isn't he? Is he the one that wrote the Stranger?
Stranger at the Pentagon, about Valiant Thor.
Yes.
I will say that this was very close to my heart, even though Valiant Thor, Commander Valiant Thor, was or is claimed to have been from the interior of the planet Venus. I have a great interest in the hollow Earth theory. I believe it as fact. And so I have researched this extensively over the years since I was 17 years old. I'm 46 now, so quite a few years. And I've had a lot of interesting experiences relating to this. And so I'm not going to make any unusual claims on camera now, but I have a great interest in the hollow Earth, and I believe to journey there on an expedition that's been planned with some group of individuals for some time now.
Oh, with what's Brooks Avenue?
Yeah. No, I'm aware of that expedition.
A different one.
No, that particular one I'm aware of with Brooks.
Yes.
Also, he has befriended a good friend of mine named Rodney Clough. And Rodney and I have been friends for many years in Arizona. And Rodney was one of the gentlemen who did great research on this subject. Rodney at one time said that I was probably the largest map collector that he's met at that time of hollow Earth, supposedly interior world maps. I collected. I'm no longer in possession of these maps. They were taken. But anyway, that's another story. So.
Stolen?
No. It's a long story. I'd rather not get to it this time. But they were taken from me. Yeah, you could say they were stolen, but they were taken, and I'm not going to say it was some big conspiracy or anything. I know the individual who took them, and it was of course against my will. They mentioned they would care for them while I was in Europe, but they went and did other things with them and sold them basically to I guess, collectors. I don't know. I don't know what they did, but that was basically the end of that. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So I've been slowly building up my current collection, but nothing like it was. I mean, I had actual nice hand maps that you can hold, but yeah.
Okay. But in terms of being a bodyguard, can
Yes.
you name some of the other people that you're a bodyguard for?
Yes, I can.
And I'm afraid we're going to have to sort of move this along
That's
kind of
fine.
quickly because we've just been told that I have to go speak quite soon.
Yes, that's fine.
Much sooner than I thought. But I'm going to have you on my radio show so we can go down this road much further. But for the purposes of this short interview,
Yes.
if you could tell us the names of the people that you've been a bodyguard for that you're willing to talk about, and then I have further questions.
Okay. I can say, because I'm still under multi-million-dollar contract, non-disclosure agreements with the majority of my clients, I can tell you the ones that they have ended and I'm no longer with.
Sure.
I protected Ice-T and his son. I've protected, who actually asked for me by name, whether she, I don't know, I believe that she knew from some connections in Hollywood or whatever, but was Tracy Lords, who asked for me, and so yes, those two I can state. There were several others that I'm not at liberty. I can say I've met a lot of wonderful people in Hollywood. I've met a lot of scary people in Hollywood. Scary meaning that I was very happy to get away, me and my team, away from them because I felt they weren't the type of people that we wanted to protect and serve. I work for the side of goodness and positivity, and I protect those. I have protected those in need, and you know, it was great pride for me to help the underdogs, you know, so to speak. But I much preferred the executives because they were very nice. In fact, I had one client, he would say to me, this gentleman, he wore more expense, probably $50,000 or more on his one hand. And he was very flaunting with it. We kept telling, sir, you shouldn't really do that. He's like, oh, it's okay, with all these diamonds and Rolex and everything. But we were very happy, and this is nice about protecting the executives, because he came to me and he said, Chief, we all use code names, by the way. Chief, if you grab my head and you push me in the dirt and you keep me there, he said, I will not move, I will not do anything until you bring me up, because I know you're protecting me. You're helping to save my life. And to me, that was like, wow, I never heard that before. Because, protecting a lot of the Hollywood types, it's like, they have their cars, they have their bodyguards, they have their, their things, we're objects to them. Not saying all of them. In general, we are like an object. And so, that's okay. They pay the money, you do the job. But, it was a battle, and it's not easy. And I feel very strongly, my hat's off to the ones who protect those famous types, because it's a very stressful job. Most bodyguards don't last in the field more than 5 years because of the stress level. You basically become a professional paranoid is kind of the term for it. But yeah, from my own perspective, because of my extensive background training and working with military as a civilian, and weapons and so forth, I was able to, I trusted my own training, and I graduated A1 agent rating, top of my class in bodyguard school. I then started my own company a while after that, private, independently contracted, and I interviewed probably 100 former military and law enforcement personnel to work for me, and from that, all those, I selected 5 10-man teams. And so I basically was operating as there. And all these guys were much bigger than me, and girl were much bigger than me. And of course, when I was protecting my clients, they would joke on the radio in my ear, you know, no one's going to shoot you. They're going to shoot they're going to shoot us first, thinking that you're just the son of the client or something. You're just this little guy, and I'm the one who's commanded. I'm pulling all the strings, you know. So it was fun for me. And I've always been a small guy, but I can take care of myself.
Okay. All right, wonderful. Now, let's get back to Valiant Thor.
Yes.
Because we didn't quite finish that. I know you kind of jumped into inner Earth.
Yes.
But so you're making a judgment call. Correct me if I'm wrong. It sounds like you're making a judgment call. You're saying that Valiant Thor didn't come from internal of Venus, he came from inner Earth. Is that what you're trying to say?
No, I'm sorry.
Or that was just a quick change?
Yeah, I think I was just trying to let you be aware that this is a subject that's dear to my heart. The whole Hollow Earth
I see.
story. But no, I absolutely believe everything that Dr. Frank Strange is, when he was speaking and confided in me, I wouldn't say confided, but told to me, relayed to me privately. And I believe that Commander Valiant Thor and his team on his craft are present and still observing and maybe not living, but residing on board their craft near the Nevada desert.
Oh yeah.
That's what I believe is very
okay.
possible.
And what was his mission going into the Pentagon? Do you know?
I understand that. Now I don't want to speak for him. I've never met him personally. It would be a great honor, but I would, from my understanding, Commander Thor came down to Earth to relay information that he believed we were ready for, that would prevent technologies that would prevent all diseases, that would allow us to no longer be sick, no longer to worry about any of these things, would live lifetimes, if we chose, in these physical forms, and many other wonderful things that would bring us up to speed with the other galactic off-world races.
Okay, and the outcome of that was?
He was, after a certain amount of years, I'm sorry, I don't at the top of my head recall how many, after a certain time, the president came back to him and told him, "We're sorry, we cannot accept your offer. It would destroy our healthcare system and financial independence." And so the government would then cease to exist, I believe. So that was, and so he basically left. And as I understand, on his ship called Victor 1 was a very large, wonderful-looking craft, was hovering at a certain distance and kind of observing for a period of time until he settled near the Nevada desert. That's until they've settled, and I understand they're still there today, in being cloaked.
Sure.
Their craft.
Okay, and so what, is he a Venusian? Is that how he's considered to be?
Oh, Venusian? No, Venetian I know it as, but okay.
Okay, however
yes,
you might determine.
Correct, him and his team.
A member of a sort of race of beings coming from Venus.
Yes.
But do you know anything more about his racial history?
I do not. I know that he never ages. None of his team age. I was familiar with, there was himself, there was another gentleman, I forget the name, and then there was a lovely blonde-haired, blue-eyed woman. I don't recall her name. I'm sorry, but anyway, they looked just like we do. Their skin was very supple, but firm, and they had 6 fingers and 6 toes.
Okay.
That was the way you could tell that they were not quite, But that's what I've learned from Dr. Frank Stranges.
Okay, but you didn't have any meetings with them?
No, absolutely not. I would love to, if he's listening. I actually formed one of my security companies after Valiant Thor, Commander Thor. But of course, that's not what it's called, but it's something similar. I won't get into that. But,
all right.
But yes, I have. I would love the opportunity from all the research I've done on the.
Okay. And Frank Stranges, is he alive, or did he pass on?
No, he passed on.
Okay,
Dr.
but
Frank
you were friends with him, is that correct? Or you were a bodyguard?
I was acquaintances. I've met him at several UFO conferences and so forth, and that's how I got to spend some time with him.
Okay, I'm going to have to wrap this up, unfortunately, and I like I say, I would like you to come on my show. I'd like to continue this dialogue and find out more, because you said you do have some contact information. You've had you've had some contact experiences. Is that it?
No. I honestly, I can tell you, I've never seen a UFO in my with my own eyes. I have never had contact that I'm aware of, jokingly, with any off-worlders. But I will say that when I became head of security for a brief time at, I can name the company now, Village Labs, that was located in Tempe, Arizona, several years ago, was funded by Jordy Hormel, Hormel Chili King at the time, and they had 2 Cray computers. At that time, it was very sophisticated technology for me. And in these Crays, to give you an example, one of these Crays could process the equivalent of 2 million phone calls a minute. Now it's like, I don't know, it's incredible. But at that time, that was amazing. And each one of these Crays, to my understanding, from the one who was heading these projects, once worked for NASA, my employer. He basically said the Crays could process, they would get in video from all over the world, video clips of UFO landings, of alien interventions, close encounters of the third kind and so forth, fourth kind, and any kind of still photos. All this information would be then fed into the computer, plugged in, and then in a matter of time, the computers would come back and explain. It would say whether it was a natural phenomena or if it was not of this world. Mm-hmm. And there was a small percentage, most of it was natural phenomena, but a small percentage was, I believe, what I understood to be off-world. And so that was my eye-opening experience. I saw all this. I had access to all this footage and things, and so it just blew my mind, And so that's how I got involved in all this.
Oh, I see. Okay. But you also have some back-channel contacts as well that can give you information from time to time, and you may have some access to some information, correct? Absolutely,
yes. Okay. I have contacts in various places of the American government, and I've paid a visit to the Pentagon. I was invited to with a client in the past, and so it was a very interesting experience, and I can say that I had, I have some contacts that relate to me information, current information, future information, some of which are also into remote viewing. I'm also very interested in this subject.
Okay. Now, for the purposes of closing this conversation down, is there anything crucial that you want to say that you've gotten from your contacts at this moment, since you sort of have the floor for the next minute or so? And if there's a website you want to give out at the end of that, that's fine too.
Okay. At this time, I don't have a website to give out, but will in the future. I took them down for various reasons to protect myself. But I've been underground for, not literally, I've been under the radar, so to speak, for the past 15 years. And now it was told to me it'd be a good time to resurface again. So here I am. But I would like to basically say, I have been told that we, as human species, need to prepare. We need to prepare ourselves for serious coming global Earth changes, and that the safe places will be underground for certain periods of time. I can't say exactly when, but that we honestly should prepare, and that it will come to a head in 2016, but I've been told that my sources say on the inside that some things will be happening this year. They are happening, but 2015 they will start escalating from there. So we need to prepare, and we need to, as individuals, be ready to have an escape route to, as we refer to in the Bodyguard field, a back door. The governments of the world do. They have their back doors. They've been preparing for many years and on a continual basis for their underground facilities and so forth. So that's all I would say is get ready for the ride.
Okay, just out of curiosity, because I did just talk to Simon Parks about something similar, but he indicated, at least from his perspective, that he seemed to be talking only about sort of a man-made event, being an EMP, that then was linked to also a follow-up with some kind of nuclear bomb, that there could be incidents such as that in our future, going up to 2016. Are you seeing a natural event, or are you seeing a man-made event?
Both.
Or both?
Both.
Yeah.
All the above.
Okay.
It could also include biological warfare. And so I recommend my clients I recommend people to investigate further on alternative means of protecting themselves from bacteria, viruses, and pathogens and so forth. Okay.
All right. Well, that's a loaded sort of cap or ending to this very short interview. If you have more information and you want to do this sooner rather than later, because due to the time, I guess you're going to be here in the UK.
Yes.
I have a radio show. Maybe we can bring you on next week and have you on the radio show. It will be 3 a.m.
That's
to
okay.
do a live show. But you seem like you might be up for something like that. So
Yes.
maybe we'll do that to expand upon this. But we'll put this out in the meantime this week and see how it goes.
Great.
But thank you very much for your
Thank you, Karen.
information, and we'll see where it goes.
Much appreciated.
All right. Thank you. Okay, but
That's another story.
does it mean that you own any lands that are associated with the title? Or
In America, no. In the UK, the land was destroyed in I believe it was the 15th century from a big storm. So no, it's just a title, but it is an inheritable title. It will be with me until my wife, I'm not married currently, will inherit this title. She will become Lady of Henwick. I've been invited to join the, I don't want to name their name, a special elite group of lords and ladies, which the royal family is also a member of. But through this, and I believe it was because of these connections, said, this might be a good move for you. So I said, of course, why not? But in all honesty, it's fun. It's fun.
Okay.
But yes, place my current roots as I have several citizenships, well, two, and others. And so I feel comfortable here. It was presented to me that it was available, and so I jumped on it.
Well, how does one jump on a title?
Connections.
Okay, but you buy it? I mean,
yes, it was purchased, yes. And so that's why I would say that the average British English citizen would consider it, it's just a purchased title, it's no big deal. But to me, it's a very, I feel honored to have acquired it. And it's handed down to whoever is able to then afford such a thing. And so for me, it's very personal, as I have special citizenship as a private judicial power state citizen in America as a private citizen. And the individuals that I used to, that I've met and worked with in the past, and including me and Jordan and Maxwell and so forth.
And it's okay if you own the rights to those photos?
Yes, they're my photos.
Okay, and the people wouldn't mind you showing them on the screen?
I don't think so. Yes.
Hi there, I'm Carrie Cassidy from Project Camelot, and I am here with Lord Ivars of Henwick. Is
Correct.
that how you say it?
Yes.
Okay. And I decided to do a short interview with him because he apparently was a bodyguard for Zachariah Sitchin, among other people, and then on top of it, he seems to have some interesting contacts. So we thought we'd do a short interview here to sort of introduce him to the audience and see where this takes us. So welcome, thank you. We're here at the BASIS conference. And just to clarify that, for short, should I call you Ivars?
Ivars is fine. Yes.
All right. And this is this title comes from Latvia. Is that right?
No, it's UK title, and through my connections in the UK, as I've lived here the past 7 years, I met a baron, and through the baron, he introduced me to the holder at that time of the title, which is a royal lordship of Henwick, dates back, was once owned by King Henry VIII. So it's an official royal lordship once owned by a king title. And now I am the holder of this title.
Okay, and
Yes.
why would you become the holder of such a title?
Well, since I've lived here for 7 years, I operate my businesses here. I feel very comfortable in the UK, and though I've called many places like home, not quite home, and I feel very comfortable here, and so I decided that this is where I will.
Are these sightings or?
No, these are photos of